ladies and gentlemen, it is your boy Rufus. We have another very special guest this week in Mike Bethune. Mike and myself were teammates at Dean College for a year. Became pretty good friends over that amount of time. So welcome, Mike, to the podcast.
For having me. Like I said, we've been friends for 2 years now.
Yes, year two.
Yeah, definitely been teammates for a year. A great friendship on and off the field. It's my guy. Glad to be here.
Yeah, Dean was pretty cool in the sense of like where I came in as a transfer and everything kind of came together. Like, you know, wins and losses weren't really there, but the relationships I think a lot of us built along the way were impressive to say the least. So Mike played at Dean, and he also played professionally overseas for the Dusseldorf Bulldozers. He got over almost 2,500 NCAA all-purpose yards, including 7 touchdowns. Obviously, the COVID years mixed in there too, which is obviously tough considering the path that you were on from there. And then eventually made his way overseas, 4 touchdowns in Germany, as well as just about 1,300 all-purpose yards professionally overseas in Germany. And he'll now be playing for the Mill City Eagles in this upcoming season.
Honestly, I've never been a huge stat person. I've never really been big about it. But honestly, I just use them as what I need to improve upon in my game. Ultimately, feel as if I need to score more touchdowns. That's my most important goal.
For sure. I mean, it's cool. I mean, just being able to say you're a professional football player is definitely a neat thing. So that's pretty much what we're gonna be focused on for today's podcast. So I'm gonna start it off with. Actually, we got a call in too. I gotta check. I think we got a call from Owen Jalbert on the team. So he gave us a call to work with, which is much appreciated. Love when they use the call and the text line there. But my first question for you, Mike, was what went into your decision to play overseas?
So I only played 6 games my senior year because I had a knee injury. I hurt something in my ACL, but I didn't tear it or anything like that. But it did sideline me for a little bit, ultimately, and it really derailed what I wanted to do. Because ultimately, my goal, of course, was to play at the next level. But the NFL wasn't looking realistic at that time, and I wasn't sure what to do. So I kind of took the route of watching YouTubers like Destroying, checking out other people that I've been teammates with, like Ricky Benson. He was an upperclassman when I first came into Dean. He plays in Mexico. Just talking to people that way. Coach A-Rob was a big help. He put me in connection with someone he was cool with that played overseas, and I learned about this website called Euro Player. Was just kind of what really swayed me to like maybe playing overseas isn't as crazy as a thought as like I thought it was before. Opening my perspective to NFL is not the only way you can be a professional. It's not the only way you can get paid. It's really what swayed me. And on top of that, when they reached out to me, he called me that same day. He texted me for the first time. My old coach, Wolfgang Best, he called me that same day on Facebook Messenger, like, had a 30-minute conversation about how much he felt like I could fit the team, and I just felt appreciated. Really made me decide to take my talents there.
Like I said, definitely a neat story. And like I said, that relationship that you have like with the coaching staff, with people, like we were just talking about before, like networking and stuff like that, like how it all came together for you to get over there. Now, one question I've always had about it was there like a language barrier gap you ran into over there, or did a lot of people actually speak English, and was it easy to kind of navigate the different language over in Germany, or was it a little more difficult than you would have anticipated?
So this might sound weird, but like yes and no. So yes, there was definitely a language barrier. For example, you know how we have the breakdown huddle at the end of things like a practice or in the beginning of a practice or before the game. They're speaking in German, so like I have no idea what's happening. So I had 2 other American teammates. One of them was from California, and the other one was from New Jersey, but he lived in Germany for like the past 2 seasons because he played on the team the past 2 seasons. So he fluently understands Dutch. So he understood, but me and my other boy, we had no idea what was happening. So every huddle that's going down, I have no clue what's going on. And then I usually have a teammate like that's telling me like, "Oh, he's saying this," like at the end. You know what I'm saying? And then on the flip side of that though, everyone does usually speak English. They really try their best to make you feel included. That's one of the things I appreciated the most about my experience though. Um, Same type of thing with Dean. I made relationships there that will probably be friends for probably the rest of my life. And, I'm just very grateful that they made me feel at home the 6 months I was there.
Now, what was like play calling like? Play calling. I think like you can. There's less of a need to speak in like a German. Like I feel you can kind of like English. That's a little more straightforward with numbers and like formation and stuff like that because it's very short, very brief. It's not like long put together sentences. It's more this to the point. Was that in English?
Yeah, the play calling was all numbers in English. So it wasn't really it was more like concepts like uh, trying to remember a play, but it's little blank. It's been a while since I had those type of plays, but it's like they stuff like 42, whatever, 10 personnel, 11 personnel, 12 personnel, 22.
Language
That kind
of
of deal.
language of football is pretty well. I mean, where like obviously wherever you go now, the language of
Anyway,
football is spoken, the same way as it was over here. Which obviously that's a huge bonus, and in terms of like how you put together the numbers you did, that's a huge plus to you as well. Because it's like if you couldn't understand play calls, that would have been terrible. Just run right or just run left. That would have been terrible. That would have been awful. That would have been terrible. But obviously you obviously able to find success because there wasn't that much of a language barrier. But obviously outside of the field is obviously a little different.
definitely different.
Now, what was like the pace and skill level adjustment like for you going from playing Division III college ball to then playing professionally overseas?
So I would say the pace is faster. Professional ball is professional ball. Of course, it's not NFL standard, but professional ball is definitely quicker because you're playing against all adults with well-developed minds who know how to read and react. So like those delay steps, that jumping around, thinking you're just gonna dance on people, that's not going down as much. People are getting to plays faster. People hit harder. Everyone's bigger. You know what I'm saying? The only real difference was like an interesting experience I had is like being teammates with people who have kids, like a full family, like married kids, that type of deal. So they weight lift to keep in shape all the time. So like that type of deal was a little bit different. Um, you know, but ultimately, I would say faster is the biggest discrepancy. But then again, I would say that American competition, in my personal opinion, is still just a little bit better. But I just feel like that more because it's now becoming a more popular sport over there. Whereas if in America, it's been a number one or two sport for a very long time. You know what I'm saying? So like more people have strived to be a ball player. Where like a great example is like we shared a practice field with soccer organization who had a little league team and a professional team. So we split the field halfways in the beginning of our practice because the soccer team was playing. Because that's what's important. Like we're not as important. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's kind of like obviously for you, like Dean adjustment wise, like we split the field and stuff all the time. But obviously, we had the field stuff, so I guess that wasn't the most difficult adjustment coming from college because obviously we have Grant and we didn't really use Longley, so we obviously the practice times changed and stuff like that. So not a huge, obviously probably not the hugest adjustment for you there in terms of how that went. Now, like, did you pick the mind of like any of your teammates that were from Germany or from Europe? Like, did you ever get like a chance to talk to them about like why they decided to play football, like what separated that sport from like what made them decide to play the American sport of football when there's soccer and stuff over there where they obviously is. I mean, it's so attainable like to play soccer. It's so easy to play soccer. I mean, they have fields, everything over there. Like it's just like natural to them. People just grow up. There's a ball at their feet. They play. There's Sunday leagues like everywhere overseas. What did you ever get the chance to pick their brains on like why they decided to try out American football?
Yeah, I actually have gotten. I grew a really great connection with a lot of the teammates I did have. So I did pick their brains a lot on what was their thought process on why football was the choice for them, and it was different for certain people. But a common answer was more like they watched it, they seen it, um, heard by players, like the way the game looked, had fun, like when they played it around with their friends. So it was like, why not join a team? On top of that, they have so many leagues over there. There's 8 tiers of teams, and each professional organization has an understudy organization for like kids from the youth ages of like 10, 12, all the way to turn about 17, and then you go to the professional. So just that, basically, is it? Do you call it Pop Warner in Massachusetts as well?
Yeah,
Pop
we
Warner
have
football.
Pop Warner. Yeah,
So basically, that's their Pop Warner, you know? So learning, building, coming up with their own group of friends and being different and trying to win and making another name for themselves in a different sport. On top of that, the crowds were bigger than expected, in my opinion. So they actually got a following. It was cool to walk down the street and people knew who you were. You know what I'm saying? I had fans. I didn't have any fan encounters, anything crazy, but like that was a very cool experience, and that's an experience that a lot of my teammates enjoyed, as they said. Also, top of that, a lot of them just wanted to be different. They didn't want to play soccer. Everyone plays soccer, you know. Wanted to be different in this area. Another one. Yeah.
that club thing too. With like, it's a club. That's a huge soccer thing, or European football. And they have youth academies, so all the way up, the kids go to school, they play soccer, they grow them through the farm system. So it's like in baseball, you have AAA, AA, in that kind of sense. You have the minor leagues, and then you obviously you have your different leagues now in the U.S. that are going to be kind of used. Like the XFL is going to be used as like a minor league type of deal, or your practice squad's kind of different. Like the NFL is kind of on its own, but like they have those. No, that's the same kind of thing. Like they're Pop Warner now. They have it's a club, so you're associated with them, and you build your way up, and then in soccer, a lot of times they'll call kids up from from their youth clubs like to get them some game time in certain games, and then they'll send them back down freely because but they still have contractual ownership. They're still getting paid contracts, but they bump up and down between the academies and stuff, and they're still associated with those teams. And obviously like while they're over there, like, well, that's a great idea. I've always liked it. There's a couple of things I'd like professional sports in America to pull from overseas. Relegation being one.
Absolutely.
Relegation, you can't tank. There's no more tanking unless you want to lose all your revenue rights to being in the main league. Relegation's awesome. You see it in baseball. People just
I
tank.
agree.
Basketball, people just tank. No, no, no. You don't. You don't. No more draft picks. It just if you perform like you'll get a draft pick if you stay up. If you don't, the other teams that are coming in are going to get the draft picks. Like there could be such a cool process in the U.S. where relegation would work, and then those youth academies too. I think is really cool. I think soccer over here does it too, but like, could you imagine playing for like the U16 New England Patriots or the U16 Miami Dolphins? Like that'd be. I don't know how it would work, but it's a super cool process to kind of. I mean, it would get rid of college ball too, though. So that's where the only difference is in terms of that.
I figured this is how I think about it, right? If you really wanted to finesse it, you could do like U16 teams for like what all the NFL teams, but then make them go to a college and still have the college, or you have to be in a college for 2+ years, or make a development league like the XFL, make that like a G League like the NBA does, or they could play 2 years in the XFL. Right? So then they're still getting a professional experience or a college experience before they can get drafted. And we could still have them develop up. You know what I'm saying? I think they could do it as well. I think it would be a great idea because that's what really kept teams competitive, even if you're having a losing season. Like my team wasn't good. We didn't have a great record. But we knew that as a program, for the last 4 years, they've been coming up every time. So to go down again, to get relegated, not an or right relegated
You're
or is it
relegated. Yeah,
delegated?
relegated. So yeah, they go down.
Relegated was not an option. So we fought hard and we won 2 of our last games so that that wouldn't happen to us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's such a unique thing that they have that I love. It's like it just no more tanking, no more this. Like you gotta like compete, compete, compete. Ownership has to be willing to fund. and everybody has to be at their best, even when the record doesn't support that. Like you're like even at your worst, you've been at your best. The effort has been there, and there's no excuses anymore. Like that's what you have to do: compete and maintain that revenue that ownership's going to lose if they go down. Like that's what ends up happening is they end up selling a lot of players off, and a lot of stuff moves money wise because they just can't afford stuff because they don't stay up. So it really keeps everything super super competitive. That any given Sunday would be even more so improved, I think, if it were to be introduced over here. So I think that's definitely a unique thing over there that I'd like to bring over here. What was your favorite memory playing ball over in Germany?
Favorite memory would probably be I have two, if I'm gonna be honest with you. I had some people come down, like I had my dad, I had my mom, I had my girl. So came down at separate times, like and watch games, and those both of those games I had the best games of my year. With my dad, I scored receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown. Well, the receiving touchdown got called short, but I counted in my eyes. But I had over 200 yards that game. And then when my mom and my girl came, I also had a very big game. Um, two touchdowns that game, two rushing touchdowns. I had a 70-yard kick return that I thought about by accident. So like just them being able to see me and not having to watch the huddle clips because we didn't have the best streaming platform over there, so I couldn't stream the games. But just for them to actually see it live, to see me be a professional, was the cherry on top for me. Especially my mom and my dad because they're the ones who pushed me all the times that I felt like giving up or I didn't know if this was for me. They kept pushing me and they kept putting me in opportunities to continue and grow my game, especially my mom and dad, so that's probably my best.
Yeah, it's got to be super cool to be able to share that experience over there, different country, playing professionally, and you get to share with the people that you've been with to get to that point. So it's like it's got that pinnacle, that top of the mountain that you climb up to, and you get that experience. That's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Very cool, bro.
now outside of the adjustment language wise, what were some of the other biggest life adjustments that you went through being in a whole different country?
So the currency difference was a switch for me. When you think of going on vacation, you save up so that way when you're there, you're comfortable. Um, but when you go for that long, you know, you gotta start to switch the money around because you can't use American dollars over there. So that was a big difference for me because when you flip currency, that changes things. But on top of that, they had so many things that were so cheap. Like things that you buy here that cost so much, I'm getting over there for like $3. You know what I'm saying? Like simple things too, or even expensive things. Another big thing, there's no air conditioning over there. Um, so
How hot did it
it's
get?
hot. It's hot. It didn't get too bad. Like there was only 2 days where it was 100+ degrees, and those days were horrible. But besides that, it wasn't too bad. The walking places were so beautiful, bro. The architecture is so different. Um, where I was like a 10-minute walk from the Allstat is what it's called. It's the largest, I believe, restaurant to bar ratio. Basically, like a really huge 10, 12 street strip of just bars, restaurants, stores where you can just go and they have like the tourist spot with like all the designer places and all that type of stuff. And they had great food, bro. It was just like overall just an amazing experience, bro. And if I would definitely do it again.
That was actually one of my questions. If you had the chance to do it all over again, would you? So that's perfect right there.
Yeah, I can actually spin that question with another thing for you just to give you some information. Um, so unfortunately this year I was supposed to go to another team in Germany. but some business complications happened, um, which opened my eyes to a lot of things in the business world. But I'm not gonna throw them under the bus or anything like that. But if it was up to me, I would be back in Germany. But I'm blessed that Mill City gave me this opportunity. And, one thing about me, I intend to do nothing but give them best of my efforts. And I want to win. So, yeah.
Like I said, I was so excited to bring you on to talk about all of it, just because like it just it's such a cool idea to go over there. Now I think I don't have. I think I'm gonna read Owen's real quick too. Um, so like it was like what was your like your first like your decision to go over to Germany and what made you come back? So obviously that kind of answers the second one because I had an idea because I looked at like the transcript of it, um, and then obviously we knew like what like going into the decision. Obviously we covered both of Owen's questions too, which is pretty cool. Um, uh,
Yeah.
so Owen, appreciate the call, bro. Thank you. But yeah, we
Appreciate the call, bro.
covered like he said. Basically, like, the first question was I probably should have planned that out better. Like your decision going into playing overseas, and then obviously um, coming back. And then you answered one of mine too. Like I said, would you go back over there again? Obviously, you would have stayed, and you would definitely do it all over again. Um, what were some of the now you had like the life adjustments? What were some of the biggest football adjustments you had to make? Was your role what you thought it was going to be? Did you have to play some different roles than you kind of thought you were going to have to go into, or were you just kind of open minded, like, hey, whatever I can do to help a team, I can do, and that's it?
Well, as my teammate, my mindset is always I just want to help the team win. And that's how I came into it. But I ended up getting a bigger role than expected. They actually kind of used me as a feature type of back. Um, Now, a lot of people probably don't know this, but I've never really been a feature back. Even high school, um, I came off the bench a lot of times, or if I started, I didn't get the ball in certain packages. I was more receiver type of back, or they only gave me like jet sweeps and things of that nature. So to actually be the featured back, because even on Dean, I wasn't the featured back until my senior year. So to actually be that, the third down back, the first down back, the second down back, it actually helped me to develop my game even more. Um, where I'm running down the middle 10, 15 times in the game to get killed, where I wasn't doing that as much, before, or the ability that they allowed me to play more outside receiver and to get even more comfortable, making my routes better, challenging me to step up and lead the team, to be the leader, to help lead, to be a voice, even though I was a new face. It was a very, very good experience for me. Another thing that really helped my game was that I had a really good OC over there. He was always on my back and pushed me. Anytime I messed up, he messing up. What were you thinking? On the sideline, he really talked to me. What are you seeing? Like, how can we make this better? How can we do this? How can I help you feel more comfortable out there? Also teaching me, letting me know the hard truth about myself, even though I'm already hard on myself, but to be even harder on myself from a coach was great. Where it wasn't like I'm hard on you and I'm like yelling at you, but like more I'm talking to you like an adult and I'm pushing you because I see the greatness in you. I really appreciated that.
Yeah, that's got to be super cool. It's like it's one thing you see coaches get into players and be super tough on them, but then it's another to actually be able to communicate with them like, hey, I don't like X, Y, and Z, but here's what I think we can do to change that, or what do you think we can do to change that? So it's just the odd. It's just like brutal honesty, but not in a way of like doing it with no idea of like a resolution, but actually being able to be like, all right, so this is what happened. This is what I don't like about it, but how are we gonna fix it? How do you see it? How do I see it? Let's come to a conclusion, and fix the problem and go from there. That's good. That is coaching, and that is like I think by definition that is coaching or good coaching at the very least. And it's cool that you got to experience that. Obviously, it helped you succeed over there.
Yeah, it was definitely great.
Now, when you were planning on going back, what were some of the things that you were focused on doing from a football perspective that you think was gonna take you from having a good first year to being great? What was like some of the aspects you were focused on, like really taking to the next level?
My vision, I was really been getting into the last year and a half, knowing the O line's assignment on top of my assignment, on top of the receiver's assignment, on top of the linebacker on the other side's assignment, and the defensive line's assignment. Because if I can learn and not know off the back of my head what everyone's doing, I know where they're going before they know where they're going. So it makes it easier for me to hit what I have to hit. Another big point for me was to become a better receiver. I have the ability to be a receiver, but I'm no way a number one option receiver in my opinion. I'm more of a slot receiver. You throw me in the slot, I can make plays for you happen. So to become a more pure receiver, to be able to be inside, outside, um, that way was another big point for me. And then ultimately, I'm always considered as a small back. I'm only 160 pounds. So to get stronger, but not slow myself down at the same time is another big point that I've been focusing on as well.
Yeah, obviously that. I think people get lost in like just lifting to lift, but at least you had a plan to like, hey, I'm not gonna get too bulky, too slow. Like, just have to, there's a matter of maintenance, but also focus. I think game reps and practice reps are worth, especially for your position, are worth way more than the actual weight room itself is worth at times. I feel like just getting reps at what you're doing is going to make you much better. Running, being out in the open space, making cuts, everything like in the mental and seeing things, catching. I think that's all more worth your while than slamming a bunch of weights around in the weight room, because it's like you really can, if you're not totally doing it the right way, it can slow you down if you're not 100% onto you. So it's just, I think for you, like obviously for your position, that work is way, way more effective than I could say for me, where it's like if I'm just working pass rush moves all day, it's fine, but I'm still, if somebody gets their hands on me, I'm still going to get thrown around. So it's a little different position wise, but I think for your position, that's definitely more of a benefit for you, is like you said, the vision and just like the actual reps itself.
Yeah, definitely. On top of that, I've been joining flag leagues, joined two so far, to just get live reps against other people who, even though they're not playing for the reason I'm playing, they're still going to give me their 110 because at the end of the line, we're fighting for a championship. So getting that competition and just learning how to be a winner. One of the things that really bothered me mentally throughout my playing careers, I haven't been on a lot of winning teams. So learning how to win, be a winner, inspire my teammates to want to win, is another big thing I've also focused on.
Yeah, I played a little bit of flag myself going into last season because it was 5-on-5, so you get a one-on-one pass rush every time. So I just used it for like reps to get to get myself more comfortable going into the season. So yeah, flag obviously for that reason too is just it's live reps. You really can't say enough about it. I mean, it's a different game, but it's still live reps. You're still running routes, still catching passes. You're still moving in open space, making people miss, tracking the hip, all the above. So people. I mean, with that reason in mind, it's amazing. It's amazing reps that you can get that other people really probably aren't getting in their off seasons, or at least looking at it with that type of perspective, which elevates you above them for sure.
Yeah, I'm just learning. My route as an athlete has always been the underdog, so just learning how to take advantage of the advantages, letting people so that way when they see me, that my play will wake them up because I'm not a big talker, more about the work.
Nah, you'd shrug every time we said Mister 200. So
I'll
it's exactly that reaction right there is exactly what I'm talking about. um, Last one for you, Mike. What advice would you give to young players that are aspiring to play overseas?
My biggest advice is don't come into an organization thinking just because you're from America, you're the best player or that you're going to run the team. Because because there is some ballers out there, but also come into there hungry, come in there wanting to show them why you're worth money you're spending. Ultimately, bet on yourself because no one else will. And believe in yourself. Give everything 110 every single time, every single rep. You know, just be the greatest you could be. That would be my greatest advice. Never give up on yourself.
Fair enough, Mike. I appreciate it. That was pretty much perfect timing. Everything went smoothly. Appreciate your time, Mike. Appreciate everything you had to share about over there. I've always been interested in it, so it's like it's cool for me to actually get it on here. So I really appreciate you joining me today.
I appreciate you having me, bro. Anytime you want me to come back, just let me know.
Yeah, it won't be the last time. We'll probably get into some Dean stuff in the future, whatever else, NFL, whatever it may be. This will not be the last time you'll be featured on. That's the cool. I love bringing on guests now with this like format that I have because it's never going to be the end. Like I've always every guest that I bring on is always it goes so well. I don't really think of in memory that I've had guests that haven't gone well. So I love bringing on people that I know that aren't only going to be good for an episode, but their presentation and everything goes well. So it's like can always bring you back on for more, and we will in due time. So everybody, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll have Mike's social media links in the bio as well. I think, bio as well. If you guys to go check it out and go follow Mike on his social media accounts as well. But it's your boy Rufus, and for Mike, signing off.
Appreciate you.